edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show as we kick off St. Patrick's Day weekend in style. 3 hours of broadcast excellence on the way today. Well, we can promise broadcast competence, and occasionally we can live up to the promises that we make. If you would like to join us, 414-799-1130 is our adventnews.com talk and text line. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch us streaming live. DanoCam is on. It is running. We are also streaming at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show and on our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Now, occasionally I will do this because I've got so many good topics that are so illustrative of where we are as a country, as a world today, how badly the other side fails this country and this world, that I just can't decide what I want to lead with. Do we want? We'll play talk radio roulette. How about that? Paul, I will make you our contestant. And actually, we have Eric training with Paul. We'll make it a vote. Would you like a story that proves Democrats blaming Trump for everything are always wrong? Or would you like a story about how Democrats are completely wrong about Elon Musk and DOGE? Both are local. One is exclusive. The other has exclusive details here on the Dan O'Donnell Show from a publicly available report. But both will, I think, educate you on exactly why Democrats are always wrong. Option number 2, Musk and DOGE. All right. Well, that will allow me to lead with this. You know, Mark Kelly, astronaut, senator, wife of her husband of Gabby Giffords, the congresswoman from Arizona who was tragically shot in the head, suffered traumatic brain injury in an attack that was years and years ago blamed on Sarah Palin for some reason. Well, he, like many liberals for many, many years, was a proud driver of a Tesla. Until that is today, when he, like most liberals, because they can't ever do anything without virtue signaling about it, announced very publicly in a video he posted to social media that he would be getting rid of his Tesla because he didn't like the message it sent.
Hey folks, it's Mark Kelly here in Washington, driving to work for the last time in my Tesla. When I bought this thing, I didn't think it was going to become a political issue. Every time I get in this car in the last 60 days or so, it reminds me of just how much damage Elon Musk and Donald Trump is doing to our country. Talking about slashing Social Security, cutting healthcare benefits for poor people, for seniors. It's one bad thing after the next. He's firing veterans. I'm a veteran, so I have a really hard time driving around in this thing. So I think it's time for an upgrade today. So this is going to be my last trip in this car. There were some things I really liked about it. There are things I didn't like about it, but that doesn't matter. What matters is, doing the right thing. I think it's time to get rid of it.
That, by the way, is liberalism in a nutshell. It doesn't matter how well the thing performs. What matters is the message it sends. What matters is doing the right thing, or more acutely and more importantly, conveying to others that we're doing the right thing, right? That's the essence of virtue signaling. He liked the car. The car was perfectly fine. He just didn't like the message him driving around in that car sent, and I think the real reason he was getting rid of that Tesla is he knows if he takes it to a town hall meeting or something like that, his own voters and supporters will torch the thing because they're so unhinged in their hatred of Elon Musk. Now, what is it that Musk is attempting to do? What is it that Musk has already done? According to DOGE's website today, the cuts that the organization has made have saved taxpayers $114 billion just in the span of a couple of weeks. What he's trying to do is to prevent the sort of waste, fraud, and abuse that Democrats used to say they wanted to get rid of in government. We played sound bites of Chuck Schumer, of Nancy Pelosi, of Bernie Sanders, all from the early 2010s, all saying that, look, we need to cut down on wasteful and fraudulent spending. We need to get it out of federal budgeting, because if we have wasteful and fraudulent spending, that's less money that we can spend on people who need it. Democrats were so committed to reducing federal government spending that President Clinton in 1993 made one of his very first actions putting Al Gore in charge of cutting the federal workforce, which Gore did with great success, cutting 380,000 jobs by 1998, a total of 12% of the federal workforce. That led to a balanced budget for the last time America actually had a budget surplus. We haven't had one since. Perhaps not coincidentally, we have only expanded government since. But what Musk is trying to do is to avoid what happened at UW-Madison. A report out today outlines how the school's DEI department, it is actually called the DDEEA at Madison, the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement, burned through millions of dollars under the former director LeVar Charleston, who, frankly, if he wasn't the head of the DEI program at the school, would be sitting in a jail cell right now for what he did with our money. The money, which amounted to about a $21.8 million budget, was a mixture of taxpayer funds and student tuition, meaning if you have a son or daughter who goes to UW-Madison, you were helping to pay for LeVar Charleston in 2023 and 2024 to enrich himself and his cronies through massive raises that were unapproved by anyone, that were totally out of whack with the university's structure and system for giving out raises, and were totally unjustified. And in fact, Charleston never actually attempted to justify said raises. There was no evidence that an audit could find that they even tried. Okay, why did this guy get a 23% raise after he already got a 5% raise a year ago? I don't know. Just felt like giving him one. It wasn't just that. Unauthorized travel in the amount of millions and millions and millions of dollars, as well as personal items, technology, and even office furniture. It seemed the only thing LeVar Charleston was good at was wasting money. In 2023 and 2024, according to this audit, the DDEEA, Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement at UW-Madison, had 71 staff members, academic staff, university staff, appointees, whatever. During that time period, DDEEA submitted 72 lump sum pay increases. 71 employees, including Charleston, the head of the DDEEA, they approved 72 pay increases, 63 of which exceeded a 3% of base salary threshold. 89% of the division's employees got raises over that year. That is, as the report notes, an unusually high percentage. Notably, 34 out of 63 employees had previously received an additional performance lump sum within the past year, and 8 employees had previously received 2 lump sum awards in the preceding 12 months. This means that 8 favored employees of UW-Madison's recently demoted DEI chief got 3 raises or lump sum bonus payments in the span of a year. Now, how exactly, in a field that notoriously believes individualism, achievement, objectivity, meeting and exceeding expectations is racist, how exactly could they justify this? They didn't. This directly from the UW-Madison report. The review found that DDEEA's materials did not provide sufficient supporting documentation for OHR, that is the reviewing agency, to determine if the raises or lump sum bonuses distributed during the period of review were appropriate. Simply put, the materials lacked sufficient information to understand the analysis that Charleston may have independently utilized to arrive at these decisions. Despite multiple requests for this information, adequate documentation to support these decisions was not provided during the review process. Over and over, they were asking Charleston or any one of his 71 DEI employees. Folks, let me reiterate that. 71 DEI employees at one university. 71. They're not teaching about DEI. They're just kind of DEIing. What were they doing? Well, whatever it was, they were doing it remarkably well because 89% of them got raises. There were 72 raises given out in a one-year span to 89% of employees. One wonders, how bad did LeVar Charleston have to hate you if you were one of the 11% who didn't get at least one massive raise over the span of that year? And these weren't just 1, 2, 3% raises. 12 employees received base wage increases exceeding 10%. These increases ranged from 10% to 23% of their base salary, amounting to between $6,800 and over $37,000. In my contract, I don't think I have a 3% pay increase. I'm in the wrong line of work. If all of a sudden I start talking about white devils, do you think that maybe I could get one of those sweet 23% year-over-year pay increases? Now, in this report, it's not determined who it was that got these massive 23% pay increases year over year. I'm willing to wager these were the closest confidants of LeVar Charleston, because this is how it always works. The report noted that even though this guy was giving out taxpayer funds to his cronies like candy at trick or treat, this did not expressly violate university policy. It goes against the university's values. This was not a violation of policy. Hence, LeVar Charleston was not fired. Lest you think this was the only thing that the DEI department at UW-Madison was lavishing on itself, the travel budget will truly sicken you. And we will get to that coming up after the break right here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Our iHeartRadio Music Awards are back Monday night on Fox. Performing live:
Bad Bunny,
Billie Eilish,
Glorilla,
Kenny Chesney,
Money Long,
Nelly,
your host, LL Cool J,
iHeart Innovator Award recipient Lady Gaga,
Icon Award recipient Mariah Carey,
Breakthrough Award recipient Gracie Abrams,
and we're celebrating iHeartRadio's Tour of the Century Award, honoring Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour.
live on Fox Monday night starting at 7 p.m.
And listen on iHeartRadio.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about MediShare, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And MediShare works too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
Whether you're on a commercial job site or tackling residential projects, support yourself and your crew with the AFS Advantage. AFS Advanced Fastening Supply is locally owned with a complete inventory of all the major brands of tools, fasteners, and safety equipment to make sure your job is done right and on time for all your projects throughout the year. Experience the AFS Advantage today. Advanced Fastening Supply on Doral Road in Waukesha or advancedfasteningsupply.com.
What's it going to cost me? Nick, the construction guru here. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about cost versus value. What will a potential remodel bring you if you decide to sell? What is your investment worth? Tune in Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN.
An auction to sell your house? And it includes a 2.99% full service MLS listing? Come on. Put simply, the absolute best way to sell your home is a Redefined Realty MLS listing enhanced by the EasyHomeBidder.com auction bidding platform. You get max profits and minimal contingencies. Buyers and sellers both love winning at auction. Traditional real estate agents put houses on MLS, then talk sellers into accepting offers. It's always been done that way. While buyers can still make a traditional offer, auctions powered by EasyHomeBidder.com allow every interested party to compete for your home through MLS and at auction on your terms. Sellers never lose a penny again. Dorothy's Ruby slippers would not have sold for $28 million without an auction. Similarly, the maximum price of your home will only be achieved at auction. Traditional real estate agents sell ordinary MLS services. Redefines mentors of winning, enhance the home selling process combining auction and MLS. RedefinedRealty.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Real estate's future is now. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here.
Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
When you've made the choice to buy the industry's best, Marvin Replacement Windows, find them at Wisconsin's largest Marvin window dealer. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free. 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
If it was just the salary increases for the DDEEA at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement under former Director LeVar Charleston, you would say, wow, we really need DOGE in this state. And I know Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has his own version of it called GOAT. I forget what the acronym stands for. But this is why an audit of every single federal, state, and municipal outlay, university outlay is desperately needed. Because this guy who, frankly, I believe criminally mishandled university money. Our money, university money, tuition, hard-earned tuition. Do you realize it costs, $20,000, $30,000 with room and board to send your kid even in-state to UW-Madison? This jackass is handing out $37,000 raises to his DEI staff, which numbered 71 in the DEI department. There were 71 employees. 71. I wonder how many English teachers they have at UW-Madison. Do you think they have as many math professors, like full-on PhD mathematics professors? Do you think they have 71? They had 71 in this DEI department. And within one calendar year, he gives out 72 raises, all of them exceeding 3%, the standard pay raise annually. 63 of those 72 raises, 3%. About a dozen of those workers got 3 raises in 1 year. So if it was just the lump sum bonus payments and base pay increases, you would say, get Elon Musk on a plane to Madison now. But speaking of planes, it was also the travel that Charleston approved. Fiscal year 2023 and 2024 expenses for, you know what, I'm going to stop calling it the DDEEA. I'm just going to call it the DEI department. DEI, Dumb Expenses Incorporated. The travel, professional development, and events spending totaled in 2023 $1.7 million, and in 2024, $2.65 million. Now, sounds like a lot, right? But we need something to serve as a baseline comparison. How about a pre-pandemic total? Fiscal year 2019. Total expenditures for this same department, $1.16 million. In 2024, just 5 years later, look, I know Biden's inflation was bad, but to go from spending $1.16 million, which seems like an excessive amount on travel and professional development. Do you know what professional development is? It's one of the biggest scams in education, if not the biggest scam in education. It's an excuse for everyone to get together in Las Vegas or in Dallas. In Wisconsin, they often do them in the Wisconsin Dells or Lake Geneva or Door County, popular vacation spots. They all stay at a nice resort. They have a conference for 3 or 4 hours. And then you get a taxpayer-funded hotel stay and per diems and whatever else some, frankly, openly corrupt bureaucrat like LeVar Charleston determines that the taxpayers should pay. The DEI department under Charleston spent an average of $10,955 per employee on travel and professional development expenses in 2024. The single highest average among all campus divisions. The other divisions, what did they average? What do you think? If they're spending $10,000 per employee on travel, and it's not that every employee gets $10,000 for travel. $10,000, ladies and gentlemen. $10,000. I can take my family of 5 on a luxury vacation for $10,000. $10,000 per each one of those 71 different employees per year on travel on your dime, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think every other division, every other department, every other area of UW-Madison, what do you think they spent per employee? A third of that, $3,303 per employee. The DEI department spent $10,000, and they didn't fire LeVar Charleston. You know why? And everybody knows why. You know exactly why he wasn't fired. Because instantly there would be a civil rights lawsuit. He would claim that he was fired because of his race and not because he was corrupt. This is corruption. This is spending our money on yourself. I would love to see a detailed breakdown of all of the places LeVar Charleston himself went for, oh yeah, I got to do that professional development. So there's a great DEI conference in Paris. We're going to have, the DEI summit at the top of the Eiffel Tower. It's remarkable how many of these DEI summits are in amazing locales across the country. You'll never see one in like Flint, Michigan. You would think, like, what is, statistically speaking, the blackest city in America? You would think Gary, Indiana. You have your DEI conference at Gary. Nobody's ever going to Gary. They're going to Santa Monica. And it's because it's a scam, ladies and gentlemen. What the pandemic taught us was that all of these professional development conferences are scams. Zoom and Skype, I guess Skype is going away in a month or two, but Zoom or Microsoft Teams, which Skype is being folded into Teams. Microsoft has put a remarkable amount of investment into Microsoft Teams, which frankly I can't stand. Do you realize if you don't need a telephone in our office right now, like if you try to call Dan O'Donnell, and you probably can't because even I don't remember what my extension is. I have no idea. They took out the phones in our office. So we get Teams calls. So if I try to call you back on an office line, it would be through Teams. It would ring on your phone, but it would be me talking to my laptop like an idiot through Teams. Yeah, this is Microsoft. Interest of full disclosure, I do have a good amount of Microsoft stock. The CEO just comes out, Nadella, who, he's a UWM guy, so we love Satya Nadella. He's a Milwaukee guy, UWM guy, love him. But he says, no, we don't believe the future is in AI. We believe the future is in OneDrive. OneDrive. Have you ever tried to save a document in the last 5 years on a Microsoft computer? You can't. You can save it. Good luck finding it. Oh, it's going to be on all of your devices. Yeah, that's great. In some folder that I can't possibly access. Thank you very much, Microsoft OneDrive. Microsoft Teams. This is another one. Yes, I love something that allows my boss to keep tabs on me 100% of the time. And I'll give him that. Teams is a little bit better and less annoying than OneDrive. Hey, speaking of things like laptops and technology and cell phones Guess how much the UW-Madison DEI department was spending on technology, personal items, and office furniture? $580,000 in 2023 and $594,000 in 2024. $594,000 on office furniture for 71 people. 71 people. Okay? No, I'm sorry. That is not even include. That's not the office furniture. This is just personal items like office supplies. $500,000 on staplers and tape dispensers. This makes you remember the old joke about the Army spending $50,000 on a hammer, $20,000 on a toilet. That makes this look like chump change. What they're clearly spending money on is iPhones, iPads, new computers, technology systems, so they can better integrate technology, which, remember, they consider to be racist. AI is racist. Computers are racist. iPhones are racist. They want to integrate those into their teaching that everything, including the tech that they have just bought for themselves with your money. And the reason those numbers get so high is they're not just buying the phones, they're also buying the plans. So you're getting subscriptions to all manner of the YouTube Premium, YouTube TV, all of this stuff. They're getting the gold package, everything. That's the only way you can get the expenditures this high. They were spending an average of $2,838 in office supplies per employee. $2,000. Paul, we work in one of the more high-tech industries. I know it doesn't seem like it. It's AM radio, but look, I've got probably the DanoCam, I think, was about $2,500, $3,000. That light's another $200, I think. The computers are a couple grand that run it. We've got satellite equipment inside and outside. That's millions of dollars here. Do you think we spend in a given year $2,830 per employee on office supplies? No. Based on how much it takes to go through our corporate system to get a new laptop, it took me something like 3 months to get a new computer. And we're a private sector. This is the difference between the private and the public sector. I had to justify like 5 different, okay, why do you need a new computer? Well, because, I'm doing this and this and this and this. Public sector employees can't even answer an email. What are 5 things you did last week? I had to answer like 15 reasons why I need a new computer. Office furniture. $369,163 on furniture over 3 fiscal years, 22, 23, 24. That's the second highest among all divisions at UW-Madison. Furniture. There's the DEI department, 71 people. They spent $370,000 on furniture. Do you know what the number one furniture buyer in UW-Madison was? Well, according to this report, the highest were the libraries, where, unlike the DEI department, furniture and equipment is used by all visitors to the facilities. So they were spending almost as much as the library, where stuff naturally wears out quicker because members of the public, a ton more people than just the library staff, is using all the equipment. Now, LeVar Charleston was not fired. Frankly, this egregious overspending not being a direct violation of UW-Madison policies, means that UW-Madison's policies need to change yesterday. Moreover, the spending here was so egregious and it was so unjustified and unjustifiable that Charleston didn't even attempt to try. Demotion is a slap on the wrist. Firing is a slap on the wrist. I want a criminal investigation into the deliberate misuse of taxpayer funds. This amounts to fraud. If he's hiring his people, lavishing them with unearned, undeserved raises, buying them the new iPhone every 6 months, and whatever other technology they want, and then, most egregious of all, sending them all around the world for BS DEI conferences so they can get free vacations on our taxpayer dime? That's about as egregious as it gets. They don't even try. I was in Washington, D.C. for they didn't even trust me with the corporate credit card. I had to provide every receipt. I didn't even charge for dinner or anything. I said, you know what? You guys just handle the hotel and the airfare. I'll worry about getting myself food. It's really not a big deal. I can pay for my own. Do you think the DEI department under big spending LeVar Charleston cared a whit? Yeah. Paul said, I went to Subway. I went to a little Middle Eastern buffet lunch place, which was charming. It just happened to be right across the street from my hotel. It was like a $14 lunch buffet. Do you think they are being as judicious with their spending as I was with mine? It was my money. No, of course they're getting the lobster. Of course they're getting the steak. They're not going out to Burger King for lunch. Not spending $2.65 million on travel in a year. In a year. 71 employees total. I guarantee it's only the top 20 most favored employees of LeVar Charleston who are being allowed to go to all the lavish DEI conferences. This is the sort of stuff, folks, that frankly sickened me. I hope it sickens you. And I hope even you liberals who hate the ground Elon Musk walks on, the ground is Tesla's drive on, the ground his rockets take off from, understand what the man is trying to do. It's to protect you, protect me, all of us from people like LeVar Charleston, who, frankly, prey on the idiocy of woke liberals who think we need a DEI program. Do you know why DEI exists? It's to give grifters like LeVar Charleston and his plagiarizing wife, we'll get to her in just a second, access to money that they then spend on themselves. It is a grift. It is a scam. LeVar Charleston is a scam artist. And if there were any justice in the world, not the social justice that buffoons like him preach, he'd be behind bars right now. He wouldn't be sitting in a slightly smaller office because he got a demotion because UW-Madison and the woke white libs are so scared to fire a black man who is very obviously defrauding them of millions of dollars. You are listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. More coming up in just a second.
I'm Art Flater of Central Office Systems. Any business can be brought to its knees by thieves and IT hackers.
Chris Rozecki here. The IT guy you've known since high school doesn't have the resources to protect your organization.
Central Office Systems is the small business IT company that understands cyber with resources to back up your network.
Does your team work outside the hours of 8 to 5? Does your IT company do the same without nickel and diming you? Central Office Systems. No nickeling, no diming.
You hear those injured ads? Cameras with good resolution working properly cut down on injuries. Cameras deter thieves. Cameras deter scammers. Cameras that work work.
With Central Office Systems Managed Network Support, a qualified technician grateful for the opportunity to solve your issue answers the phone within 1 minute.
Camera systems, network security, network support.
Have insurance? Will that satisfy your customers while your company's crucial business functions are zero for a week or two? Real Insurance is utilizing an IT service provider who secures your computers from ever going down.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
I'm Larry Brinkman, president of Dornbrook Construction. Dornbrook Construction has installed concrete in every industrial and commercial setting from the Milwaukee Airport to Campbell's Soup. From big shots in manufacturing and industry, locally as well as the up-and-coming businesses in southeastern Wisconsin. Big business chooses Dornbrook because they know Dornbrook is ACI certified, fully licensed, insured, and bonded. And they know for 25 years, Dornbrook stands behind every square foot of concrete we install. Little businesses choose Dornbrook for all those reasons, and also because they can afford to choose Dornbrook. Dornbrook is industry's choice for commercial concrete because we do perfect business efficiency-minded preparation and installation on every job. We know you aren't closing your business to have concrete work done. 25 years of experience ensures your loading dock or dumpster pad or machine base or huge flat concrete job isn't our first go-round. Standing behind the concrete Wisconsin businesses and residents stand on, Dornbrook Construction. DornbrookConstruction.com. 414-333-0642.
Hi, Bob Pucci for the Take Kid Hunting Foundation. We're having the West Bend Gun Show this weekend at the Washington County Fairgrounds on Highway 45 in County PV. Show hours are Friday from 3 p.m. to 8, Saturday 9 to 5, and Sunday 9 to 3. Admission is $8, 14 under are free.
I'm Eric Krolowitz from Good Health Saunas. Check out Good Health Saunas' massive display at the Realtors Home and Garden Show, March 21st through the 30th. See our saunas be set up, feel them, touch them, try them out, and compare to find the ideal sauna for you and the entire family. Attendees will receive huge discounts on our show display floor models. Come early, they always sell out. GoodHealthSaunas.com or 365 days a year at 2242 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha next to Home Depot.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CutandGoTrees.com.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. Making only left turns navigating roads is far more difficult. Eating only dessert leads to malnourishment. Doing one gender divorce forgoes expertise. Divergent Family Law is better at both sides of divorce due to complex, vast experience on both sides of divorce. Gentlemen, if you believe women are inferior, Divergent Family Law is the wrong divorce firm for you. If, however, you believe your wife is a cunning, manipulative, superior woman who will do anything to destroy your future path, Divergent Family Law is the right firm for you. Ladies, if your husband hires a misogynist divorce firm, Divergent attorneys will block any gender-based outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, Divergent Family Law attorneys know Wisconsin family law. We know the proclivities of members of the judiciary, and so we can predict up front how your divorce decree will read before it is written, regardless of your spouse's attorney. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal, or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Have you ever wondered if your pet is lying to you?
Why is my cat not here? And I go in and she's eating my lunch.
Or if hypnotism is real?
You will use the suggestion to enhance your control.
Or what's inside a black hole?
Black holes could be a consequence of the way we understand the universe.
Well, we have answers for you in the new podcast, Science Stuff. Join me, Jorge Cham, as we answer questions about animals, space, our brains, and our bodies. Listen to Science Stuff on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart Radio app, search Science Stuff, and listen now.
I think of a place on a faraway coast where friends are so dear and there's reason to toast. A cloudy image of a Middle East land comes down and wrecks my hopeful thoughts. Sail away to a place that's unknown, taken away from my friends and my home, to a place they call sacred, a place I call hell. I long for that corner I once knew so well.
This song, Faraway Coast by the Dropkick Murphys, part of our Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation. Ahead of the big day, St. Patrick's Day on Monday. We always enjoy showcasing Celtic punk rock music, and we have got the full playlist available on Spotify. Easiest place to find a link to it, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Last year, almost exactly the same time, March 21st, 2024, LeVar Charleston has a decades-long track record of research misconduct, according to a complaint filed with the university on Wednesday and a Washington Free Beacon analysis. The misconduct includes presenting old studies as new research, which he has done at least 5 times over the course of his career. The complaint, filed anonymously, implicates 8 of Charleston's publications, many of them co-authored, and accuses him of plagiarizing other scholars, as well as duplicating his own work. It comes as the already investigating, alleging that a 2014 study by him and his wife, Harvard University's chief diversity officer Sherry Ann Charleston, is a facsimile of a study he published in 2012. Sherry, his wife, faces 40 allegations of plagiarism that did not lead to her firing, did not lead to her demotion. UW-Madison demoted LeVar Charleston, who also, by the way, once assaulted a police officer, plagiarized pretty much every bit of truly mind-numbingly stupid research. I remember reading some of these papers last year while researching that complaint into his alleged academic credentials. And it's not as though he is advancing thought, advancing the human experience in any way. Basically, all of his research is one long edition of Guess What's Racist. Just kind of names different stuff, says it's racist. Here's how I can fix it. Wasn't demoted for that. In academia, plagiarism is, or at least it was, about as bad as it gets. You can get expelled from UW-Madison for plagiarism. He wasn't demoted. You can get criminally charged for misappropriating your company's funds to spend money on yourself for things that yourself and your friends, for things that you are not authorized to spend the money on. It's not even when he does it to the tune of millions of dollars. It's not even a violation of university policy. Are you kidding me? Honestly, if this story alone doesn't make you understand just how badly DOGE is needed, I don't know what will. Speaking of racism, we're going to have to punt on the unhinged liberal of the day. We'll get to it next hour. Don't worry, because we have one more commercial break still to get to. If this wasn't enough, do you realize UW-Madison was just named as being under investigation for violating the Trump DEI order again? Second time in a week. We will get to that. Plus, a whole lot more. Stay tuned. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Get up! From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Very heavy right now, both sides of 43, starting northbound jam from Highland up to Keefe. Your southbound delays are all the way in from Capitol, down to 4394, down to the KK River Bridge. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
I'm looking for the fastest and easiest way to sell my home, and I keep hearing one name over and over. So I ask people, why Grandview Homes instead of a real estate agent?
I decided that spending the time and money to rehab the unit and sell it through conventional means was not in my best interest.
Right, you were anxious to sell your place quickly, so no time for tours, listings, or any of that. What's the process with Grandview like?
The process with Grandview was virtually effortless. They send someone out the same day. They give you a fair price offer, close quickly, and pay promptly.
Sounds like you'd recommend them.
I would recommend this company to anyone in a position of having to move quickly and with no hassle.
No hassle?
No hassle.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. We buy every home as is, and you'll get a fair cash offer in just hours. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management, joined as I am every week by Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex. And this week, stocks are not doing particularly well, and a lot of people think President Trump's tariffs are to blame. But Dave, that's really only part of the story, isn't it?
That's exactly right. So the tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs with exemptions, that is part of the story because of the shifting policy. Number two would be the tech stocks are off. Why? Because it looks like Bloomberg is writing an article that says Apple is slowing down its AI rollout. And then, of course, number three, we had a negative GDP report that came out. But as you said, Dan, all of this stuff needs context, especially the last piece. The reason why we had a negative GDP report is a lot of companies ran out and made a bunch of purchases, perhaps in front of the tariffs. That is a negative to GDP. However, that turns into positive when it becomes inventory and sales. So all of this is, yes, it looks like a bear case, but I can make a bull case as well, Dan. And that is, number one, we're likely to see the tax extensions. Number two, the Fed is probably going to get back in the game and start lowering rates from the middle to the end of this year. Lastly, earnings reports look like they're going to continue to do well. Diversify your portfolio, stay informed, make sure you're working with a fee-only fiduciary.
And you can find one at annexwealth.com. You really do have to know what you own and why you own it, because there are some sectors of the economy that are still performing relatively well. The tech sector has been hit hard. It's uncertain what's going to happen next from even day to day or hour to hour with tariffs and presidential actions. So you need to head to annexwealth.com to stay informed. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. You've been listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
When selling your home, you can save the buyer money by not having a redefined realty MLS listing enhanced by easyhomebidder.com auction. But do you want to save the buyer of your home money? When buyers bid, sellers win. It's real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Military Matters.
U.S. Space Force has assembled a team of experts to support the Trump administration's new missile defense initiative to build a space-based missile defense system. The project was originally called the Iron Dome, a reference to Israel's short-range system, but it is now called the Golden Dome, a reference to Trump's favorite color. This endeavor is estimated to cost $250 billion. The Missile Defense Agency has been working to better detect threats to the homeland for years, mainly by seeing and tracking hypersonic missiles that can maneuver as they travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound. ground. Notably, hypersonic weapons travel close to the Earth's surface, so the space-based interceptors would not pick up on these weapons. The general leading U.S. Northern Command told a Senate committee earlier this month that a sensor layer from, quote, seabed to space is needed.
You can't defeat what you can't see, and the adversaries have an increasing capability of reaching us and threatening us from ranges beyond what some of our current systems can detect and track.
For Military Matters at the Pentagon, Liz Frieden, Fox News.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio and listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon, I'm Bob Haig. President Donald Trump was at the Department of Justice today.
We must be honest about the lies and abuses that have occurred within these walls.
Veterans and supporters rally across the country, including at the Capitol in Madison.
We're shooting for 3 to 4 million veterans on the steps of our national capital on Memorial Day.
Business news brought to you by the Good Feet store. Stocks closed modestly higher. The Dow up just under 1 3/4 points. The S&P 500 up just over 2 points. The holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Marquette, and #1 St. John's tip this afternoon at Madison Square Garden. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Bob Haig on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Warm and windy today with temperatures in the 60s lakeside to mid-70s inland. Thunderstorms likely between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., possibly severe with strong wind, then a few lingering showers Saturday, windy with a high of 60. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about MediShare, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And MediShare works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Never drive drunk. If you do, don't believe police officers who tell you it's just a ticket and a 6-month suspension. Pay it and put this behind you. You'll likely have to install an ignition interlock device to blow into before starting your car. Protects the public and shames you with your friends and family. Your license will be revoked. You can go to jail for 1 year if caught driving revoked. Even if you swear you did never drive revoked, most people do. With a to and from work permit, one snowstorm, long meeting, or traffic jam, and you're driving revoked. An officer runs your plate while driving, and you're in even more serious trouble. You'll participate in alcohol and drug assessments, a driver's safety plan, and alcohol classes. You could even lose your job. Prosecutors will tenaciously prosecute you without empathy, regardless of your clean driving record. Your first DUI conviction never disappears from your record. Just a ticket and 6-month suspension, and a scarlet A for life. Charged with an OWI, your best chance is to call my team of award-winning former state prosecutors. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
The ACLU is suing to stop deportations.
Immigrant rights groups are suing to stop President Trump's order to close the U.S.-Mexico border.
To win the legal fight against the illegal alien invasion, Republicans must vote early
early in the April 1st Wisconsin Supreme Court election.
So if you want to save America, register, get an absentee or mail-in ballot, vote early.
Vote for conservative Brad Schimmel for Wisconsin Supreme Court. Apply for your absentee ballot online. Go to myvote.wi.gov to vote absentee by mail.
You must get your ballot in. Got to make it too big to rig.
When Republicans vote, Wisconsin wins. Go to myvote.wi.gov and vote early for Brad Schimmel. And stop the illegal alien invasion. America's PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
Refi Trust is a financial strategy allowing you to refinance low-interest matured savings bonds, certificates of deposit, and whole life insurance cash value with zero taxes or fees. Let's face it, everyone in finance wants your money just like the taxman does. Refi Trust is one refinancial upgrade you can make for free. Zero cost, zero fees. Refi Trust blocks creditors, nursing homes, and Medicaid from attachment to your assets, allowing you to transfer and protect $15,000 immediately for future tax-exempt use and hundreds of thousands of dollars for future tax-exempt use after a few years. Refi Trust makes the process so simple, you won't believe you've left money vulnerable because you don't want to pay taxes. Refi Trust does all the work, making sure those assets are never taxed. Refinancing matured savings bonds, certificates of deposit, and whole life insurance takes just minutes. So what are you waiting for? Visit refitrust.com right now. Let's get started. Refi Trust. Your assets, your choice. refitrust.com. That's refitrust.com.
Paul, since we started out the show asking you to play a little talk radio roulette, it's dealer's choice, right? I guess I'm mixing my metaphors here since that's a poker reference. Do we keep beating up on my alma mater, UW-Madison, or do we get to an exclusive story showing how Democrats blaming Trump for literally everything that goes wrong is a fool's errand? You want the exclusive? All right, this is going to be an exclusive story that we get to. I honestly have been working on this for longer than I probably should have been. It, like most of my exclusive stories, comes via a listener email. One of our stations is off the air. Can you hear that? Do you think people can actually hear the beeping? You can hear it through your speakers? No, you know what we should pretend it is? It's the Dan O'Donnell Show exclusive story alert. We have a deafening siren that goes off, and there's a big light that flashes outside of the studio if one of our 6 radio stations here at iHeartMedia Milwaukee goes off the air, as you might imagine, because you want to alert everybody in earshot that, hey, the station's off the air, the station's off the air. Well, the problem with this is the only 2 people who are left in the building, and I know this because I just took a walk around the building, are Paul and me on a beautiful 70-degree Friday afternoon in March on St. Patrick's Day weekend. Yeah, Paul, you go figure it out. That thing is going to be beeping for the rest of our show if Paul doesn't figure it out, because I guarantee there is not a soul left in this building. I guess Drew and KB are still here, and their producer, is it Armin? No, I don't. Over on 97.3 The Game. There are a grand total of, I think, 5 people still in this building. It's Drew, KB, is Hunter their producer? Yeah, Hunter Baumgart is their producer. Very, very talented young man. He's produced the Dan O'Donnell Show before. Oh, he is very talented. Oh, yeah, he is the sports guy in Milwaukee. I'm a huge, huge fan of Hunter. Just a remarkably talented guy. Basically, I'm a fan of anybody who actually works in the afternoon. I shouldn't talk this time last year, well, I would have been filling in for Belling, but I totally would have been on the golf course this afternoon if I was still working in mornings. Do you know where I was this morning? On the golf course, 8:30 a.m. we had a tee time. Yeah. Actually shot a 46 on 9 for my first time out. Not bad. It was not. We played Morningstar, our great friends, the Fruchies, Michael Crowley, you'll hear on the Sunday golf show with Jerry Bott. Their course was in such, I mean, it always is. I know I'm biased because I'm such good friends with Fruchi. Do you know he and I both went to Whitnall High School? And those guys, yeah, he did too. He's a few years older than me. But I think Morningstar is the best course in Southeast Wisconsin. I love it. It's my home course. I play it all the time. I love the course. I love the people there. Just had a wonderful time. Did we fix the station that was off the air? All right. For now, what station was it? Wait, don't tell me. 920 WOKY, the sports station. Yeah. We have 2 sports stations in our cluster here. I'm not entirely sure what we play on 920. One has listeners and one doesn't, Paul says. This is Paul Cronforst. If management wants to be upset at somebody, I am merely relaying what he's saying. Listener points out that speaking of taking off on Friday afternoons is St. Patrick's Day weekend, so everybody is out enjoying half and half. I will give my annual warning, not about drunk driving or celebrating responsibly. Don't you dare call Harp and Guinness a black and tan. Don't you dare this St. Patrick's Day weekend. The Black and Tans were British, they're basically a goon squad during the Irish freedom fight in, 1922, Irish independence. During the fight for Irish independence, the Black and Tans were a notoriously brutal group of British loyalists and British troops who were just savage to the Irish freedom fighters. And a black and tan is where you have Guinness on the bottom and I believe it's Harp Lager on top. You call it a half and half on St. Patrick's Day. And yes, don't order an Irish car bomb because that's super offensive. I was actually told before I went over there, don't order an Irish car bomb in Ireland. You will get punched in the face because it's a reference to the Troubles where the IRA was literally setting car bombs off. It's Sunday, Bloody Sunday, the U2 song. It was about the Bloody Sunday attack in 1972, perhaps. So just don't do it. And my family is from Donegal, which is right. That was like the heart of. In fact, there were a number of known terrorists during the Troubles named O'Donnell. No idea if they are distant relatives of mine. I mean, you go far back enough. We're all from the O'Donnell clan, but so just. Little St. Patrick's Day tips from me to you. Otherwise, it is perfectly acceptable to mock my culture as being a bunch of drunken, brawling leprechauns. Do you know why? Paul says you are. And that's why Paul is fired. No, you know why? Because the Irish for 150 years have had an incredibly good sense of humor. And from the earliest days, St. Patrick's Day in Ireland actually is a very solemn, and it always has been, very solemn celebration. The whole joke about St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, or at least it was until they saw how much fun the Americans were having. Now Dublin has a big parade, and it's a big celebration like we do. But for years, the joke about St. Patrick's Day was that in Ireland it's just like any other day except more boring because it's the feast of St. Patrick. So you would go to church and the traditional celebration was you would be in prayer. And then when the tradition came over to America in the 1800s, it started, there are some different claims about where St. Patrick's Day actually originated. New York, Boston. Yesterday, of course, we had the forgotten history of Chicago's celebration. I believe it's Charleston, South Carolina, has an incredible St. Patrick's Day celebration. It's called the Dublin of the South. They do it up every single year. But whether it was New York or whether it was Boston, Chicago, these cities had huge Irish immigrant populations. And the Irish were becoming more and more politically powerful through the Democrat machines that were basically running the cities. They realized, just like Democrats today, that they could exploit immigrants and just use them for their votes. Some things never change with the Democratic Party. And the city fathers, the bosses of the machines, said, you know what, we should celebrate the Irish and really have parades. We should have, in fact, the very first St. Patrick's Day parade very likely dates back to the 1600s in America, before it was America, and that did date back to Boston. But in the United States in the late 1800s, you had just a chance to deliver some political patronage and payback to the Irish, who are getting all of these New York and Boston Democrats elected. But they were still kind of racist, so they played up the top of the morning, Lucky Charms type, leprechauns and drinking and all that. But the Irish, who are notoriously very good-humored, and that's one thing, if you ever go to Ireland, they are super good-natured, super easygoing, fun, welcoming. They love Americans. Do you know who they hate? Other Irish. No, they hate the Brits. They hate when Queen Elizabeth died in September of 2022, there was a video that went super viral. It was an Irish soccer match, and they held a moment of silence for Queen Elizabeth, and the entire stadium started chanting, "Lizzie's in a box, Lizzie's in a box," and everybody just kind of shrugged and said, well, it's the Irish. What are you going to do? Yeah. Bad taste. Yeah, super offensive. Irish, that's what they do. They're Irish. They hate them some Brits. No, they hate when other Irish embarrass themselves. They embarrass them in front of Americans. Like the Irish love Americans. They consider themselves the 51st state because of the Irish diaspora. I was talking about this a little bit earlier in the week. The Irish diaspora after the potato blight, which is why they hate the British so much, because the British conscripted the farmers to produce potatoes for the empire, but wouldn't allow when the blight took hold, which was basically a potato infection or some sort of parasite, and there was the Great Potato Famine, they wouldn't allow the Irish farmers to keep any of their crops for themselves. So the farmers were starving while still providing the food. It's one of the that's one of the things I actually do get ticked off when people say, well, the Irish were too dumb to grow anything but potatoes, so they all starved. No, you go to Ireland and tell me anything can grow there besides potatoes. It may be green, but it's certainly not hospitable to growing a diverse selection of crops. But it was really the British who were forcing them to provide their quota of potatoes while not allowing them to keep any for themselves. So they were starving. They were literally starving because of British oppression. Now, in America, so many Irish were coming over, and they were very, very quickly becoming a political force, and they were getting into professions like police. They were getting into politics. My family, in the early to mid-1900s, I think a lot of people know, my great uncle, my grandfather's brother, was the longtime county executive, Bill O'Donnell, and he before that was the president of the Milwaukee County Board. He was the head of the county board. I had a whole lot of, the traditional Irish cop, and they wanted to celebrate those people who were doing so much for the city. So they started doing the parades. And it turned into a big celebration because the political bosses would provide free beer, free alcohol. They just turn it into a giant party. It was politically motivated, of course, but that sort of turned St. Patrick's Day into the big all-day celebration that it is. And the Irish loved it because it was a reflection of their culture, but it was Americanized. It was a celebration of the two cultures, America and Irish, coming together. And in that sense, it was sort of a uniquely American holiday. And that, to me, St. Patrick's Day has always represented to me what makes America so great and so special. And what makes us a nation of immigrants, yes, but not a nation of immigrants where each different ethnic group or each group from each country has its own little fiefdom and its own little mini country within this country. We really did have a country in which people would come and they would hold on to their own traditions, please make no mistake, but they would integrate them into the broader culture. And America would take the very best parts of each culture and make it something new, something unique, something American. I mean, it always, and St. Patrick's Day was a part of that. It was a traditional Irish celebration that we Americanized and made uniquely our own. And to me, that's the story of America. The story of St. Patrick's Day and the story of the Irish in America is itself the story of America, because there were very few groups that succeeded to the heights that the Irish did. I mean, you had within 100 years, the signs saying, and I feel like my grandfather had one. It was a sign that said, "Irish need not apply." Help wanted, Irish need not apply. Within just a few decades, you had an Irish American president of the United States in John F. Kennedy. He was an Irish Catholic. I mean, that to me is, regardless of what you think, and Kennedy was not the great American hero. I mean, he was in the war and, profiles in courage and so forth. But as president, his moral compass was slightly on tilt, what with Marilyn Monroe and such. But he was sort of the culmination of the Irish success story and how it showed that any group from anywhere, regardless of nationality, regardless of race. Do you know who the next success story is in the new wave? If the old wave of Irish, Italian, German immigrants from the 1800s, 1900s, it's Asia. It's the Chinese, it's the Japanese, it's Indians who have succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. They understand the value of education. And again, I grew up next to an Indian family. My best friend growing up was an Indian kid named Rohit. Loved him dearly. He was like, my mom always referred to him as her third son. And they were practicing Hindus, but they celebrated every American Christmas, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, because they were American. Their kids were going to be American. They sent their son and daughter to a Catholic school, primarily because my brother and I went there and they wanted, them to go to school with us. And the school was right up the street, so we could all walk to school. But they said, look, we are going to go for the best school, the best education. They understand as a group the power of entrepreneurship, of ownership, of education, of ingenuity, of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math in careers. I mean, it's to me, this is the beauty of America, that the Irish, the Italians, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Vietnamese, the people we came, the airlifts, I mean, my goodness, the boat lifts, the Cubans, I mean, all of these groups coming together, making us stronger, making us better, not just kind of waltzing in and saying, you know what, I'm a Tren de Aragua gangbanger who's committed 3 murders and I'm going to go start a new life in America. Do you realize that in 2022, 2023, for the first time since the 1850s, all of America's population growth, I'm talking net population growth, was in immigration? Not births. That's shocking. First time in 170 years. That's shocking. It's not sustainable. It's, yes, we need to have immigration for all the reasons I just said, but we need to have ordered immigration. When the Irish came over, when the Italians, the Germans, the Polish came over, boy, oh boy, go to Ellis Island once. And if you looked like you were sick, guess what? You stayed in the infirmary for a while. If you didn't get better, you were on the next ship back home. Didn't matter if mom and dad were already starting a new life in Brooklyn, you go right back if you weren't sick. If you weren't able to provide for yourself, if you didn't have a relative there where you could say, okay, if I become indigent or injured and I can't provide for myself, okay, cousin Hans will be able to help me. You went back. You were not going to become a burden on society. Now it's like, what percentage of our social safety net is devoted to people who aren't even here legally? That's the thing. Don't forget your fentanyl. Bring a couple of pounds of that. Great point, Paul. We have a wide open border where the only goal, and it's like nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Back then, the Democrat machines wanted the Irish in here. They wanted to wine and dine them so they could count on their votes. The difference was they were here legally. The Irish became American citizens, and the Irish cared about becoming Americans. Great movie, wonderful movie, a Scorsese flick from about 20 years ago called Gangs of New York. It's about that conflict right around the Civil War, it was the nativists, the know-nothings, and the Irish who were coming in and becoming a political force in New York, in early New York City. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. It kind of shows that conflict. But at their heart, all of the peoples who are coming in consider themselves to be Americans. The people who come in now, frankly, don't. All right, we will get to that exclusive story. I know I got sidetracked, but I think appropriate on this St. Patrick's Day weekend to discuss this sort of thing. We'll get to it next.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Northbound on 4194 at Layton, you got a crash that blocks the left shoulder. Southbound 4394 going to be tight from the Marquette down to the KK River Bridge. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Our iHeartRadio Music Awards are back Monday night on Fox. Performing live:
Bad Bunny,
Billie Eilish,
Glorilla,
Kenny Chesney,
Money Long,
Nelly,
your host, LL Cool J,
iHeart Innovator Award recipient Lady Gaga,
Icon Award recipient Mariah Carey,
Breakthrough Award recipient Gracie Abrams.
And we're celebrating iHeartRadio's Tour of the Century Award, honoring Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour.
Live on Fox, Monday night, starting at 7 p.m.
And listen on iHeartRadio.
Hey, ready to sweeten your game? Then it's time for Quick Trip's Nature's Touch Ice Cream. Ooh, making moves like the starting lineup of a championship team. Whether you're gearing up for the big game, celebrating a win, or just looking for a sweet break in the action, Quick Trip has the perfect scoop to keep you in the game. With so many slam dunk flavors like chocolate, vanilla, cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip, and more. Yeah, there's no such thing as a bad pick. Every flavor is a buzzer beater of deliciousness. Makes Nature's Touch Ice Cream the front runner of desserts. Whether you're craving a thick, creamy milkshake, a fully loaded sundae, or just a classic scoop in a cone, Quick Trip's Nature's Touch Ice Cream helps you score big on flavor. Hey, why wait? Flavor doesn't scoop itself. Get your hands on your winning Nature's Touch Ice Cream flavor today, only at Quick Trip.
The Census Bureau says
as more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Old-fashioned service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
When Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting, I personally guarantee your satisfaction with every step from shopping through installation. I'm Flawless Flooring's president, Dave Brownsdorf, and I approve this message. Sensory Underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Dan O'Donnell cordially inviting you to the city I've dreamed of visiting forever, Rome, Italy. It's our very first European getaway with Cruise and Tour this coming November 6th through the 11th. We'll spend 6 incredible days and 5 magical nights in the Eternal City, the perfect amount of time to take in all that Rome has to offer. We'll tour the Colosseum, one of the great wonders of the world, and learn about the ancient empire at the Pantheon and the Forum. We'll take in the beauty and majesty of the Vatican, from St. Peter's Basilica to the Sistine Chapel, and the best part is, we'll do it all together, and Cruise and Tour will handle all of the details. No stress, just fun. You don't want to miss this dream vacation to Rome, and spots are sure to fill up fast, so make your reservation today by calling 800-383-3131 or heading to cruise-tour.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
The Dropkick Murphys, their version of Amazing Grace. Punk rock guitars and bagpipes, not a combination you hear all that often. That's why we have our own Celtic punk rock bumper music playlist, which you can listen to just in time for your St. Patrick's Day parties this weekend or Monday on the actual day. Find it on Spotify, or we've got an easy link, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. I want to take you back to the beginning of March 2nd. It was a Sunday, and State Senator Tim Carpenter, a Democrat, sent the following email to the entire state legislature, both houses, Republicans and Democrats. The subject: shooting death of transgender Milwaukee woman investigated as homicide. He sent the link to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel article with the comment, "Thanks, President Trump. Words have consequences." Without any facts, without any idea who had killed this transgender person in Milwaukee, Carpenter blamed President Trump. I said at the time I was the only one who bothered to report on this, even though clearly many more reporters got word of this because it was sent to every single state representative and state senator in Wisconsin, and a whole bunch of them forwarded that email right on to me. I was the only one who reported on it. I found it newsworthy that the same party that screams about fake news and jumping to conclusions and, believing things that simply aren't true has a state senator who is willing to pin a murder in Milwaukee on Trump without a shred of evidence that anything Trump has ever said or ever done had any bearing on this whatsoever. Well, we now know what this murder was about. It was apparently a response to blackmail that the victim was attempting to blackmail the suspect who is arrested and charged in her death, a 22-year-old man named Davion Sneed, threatening to reveal to the world that Sneed was having relations with transgender men. According to the criminal complaint, investigators reviewed information downloaded from the victim, Amari Dior's phone. A detective located a Facebook conversation with a person with a Facebook name Glockboy Davy. The criminal complaint says the conversation started January 5th and continued until February 20th. Dior, the victim, was threatening to expose Glockboy Davy as having had sexual relations with transgender individuals. In the conversation, Dior was demanding money from Glockboy Davy in order to not post conversations and photographs on social media. February 20th. In the last conversation, Dior demands $200 and that Glockboy Davy informs Dior that he is trying to get it. Glockboy Davy also provided his phone number. Very next day, 95th and Brown Deer, February 21st, according to prosecutors, Davion Sneed shot and killed Amaria Dior. He now faces a charge of first-degree intentional homicide. He was arrested March 8th following a chase and crash near 60th and Hampton. So 8 days after Tim Carpenter just sort of assumed that it must have been some transphobic bigot that killed Amaria Dior, he was arrested. In an interview with police 2 days later, Sneed told investigators sometime around Valentine's Day, he decided to meet with Amari. Sneed said that is when Dior told Sneed, "I got something to tell you. I'm a tranny," the complaint says. Sneed said that Amari then told him if he did not send $700 to $1,000, he would post something saying that you did something to me, the complaint says. Sneed said he thinks he paid Amari via Apple Pay. From there were more extortion attempts. Now, of course, this is coming from Sneed, although there is evidence from the Facebook conversation that this is what prompted the murder, that Sneed didn't want to be exposed as either having sex with a man, a biological man, or didn't want that rumor out there that he did. Now, there was a recent spate of transgender murders in Milwaukee that the Journal Sentinel attempted to pin on, quote, anti-trans rhetoric coming from people like your humble host and listeners like you. In other words, conservatives saying crazy anti-trans things like boys should be in boys' locker rooms and play in boys' sports, not be in girls' locker rooms and play in girls' sports. That's anti-trans now. It leads to a trans genocide, you see. I pointed out over and over again that almost invariably the murder of trans people occurs when a man figures out that they're trans. There's some sort of intimate involvement. This is why often the murders happen in bedrooms when, shall we say, there is a little surprise that pops out. Emotions are running high. Sadly, oftentimes there's prostitution involved. Oftentimes there's drinking and drug use involved. Emotions are running high, and a lot of times, almost always, these are crimes of passion. It is very rare that, in fact, I can't think of a single example where it was a politically motivated, someone who just hates trans people, just goes out and kills a random one. Here's where the story takes quite the turn, however. On February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, the day before Steed told investigators that he was first extorted and paid a bribe or paid an extortion, paid a hush money to the transgender person he allegedly killed, he was charged with intentionally pointing a firearm at a person, disorderly conduct through the use of a dangerous weapon, carrying a concealed weapon, and bail jumping. He was on the Marquette University campus in downtown Milwaukee, and he was picked up by the Marquette Police Department. However, as often happens in Milwaukee, not just with the Marquette Police Department, not just with the Milwaukee Police Department, but for misdemeanor cases, people aren't arrested. The Milwaukee County Jail, the Sheriff's Department, under Milwaukee's invisible Sheriff Danita Ball, who has not been seen since the fall, I'm starting to wonder, does Milwaukee still have a sheriff? We got a police chief who's trying like hell to get out of this city and leave for a better job. I have not seen or heard from Milwaukee County's sheriff in at least 6 months. Can we do a wellness check? We're going to find her in 6 weeks like Gene Hackman? All right, that was too soon. I will take that one back. Details in that case don't get any more normal, by the way. It's just, it's sad. It's just a sad, sad case. The Sheriff's Department, which runs the jail, has said, look, we don't want to be putting people in jail. We don't want to subject them to bail. So we're just not going to accept most misdemeanor cases. This has been an ongoing problem for years. Instead of being arrested, Steed had a summons mailed to his home, and he was ordered into room 221 of the safety building March 12th, 1:15 p.m. Within a week and a day, he had murdered Amari Dior. It wasn't Donald Trump. It was the very liberal catch and release policies for criminals in this city, supported by none other than Tim Carpenter, that directly led to this murder. Davion Steed could have been behind bars. He was charged with all misdemeanors, sure. One of them was bail jumping, though. Bail jumping. So we're not even going to arrest him. We're just going to mail a summons and think the guy who is already charged with bail jumping is going to show up for his court appearance a month later. Well, he did, but only because he was in custody on a murder charge. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's classical conservatism and contemporary style.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 4194 near 7 Mile Road, got a stall block in the left shoulder. In your northbound lanes, you got a crash off to the left at Layton. 94 westbound, a crash on the exit ramp to 35th Street. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, founder of Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to make quality, custom-made blinds affordable to everyone. Traditional window covering retailers are expensive. Our prices are low, and our blinds are guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
the latest news.
And let's get right to it. This is just breaking right now, a major development.
Exclusive investigations.
That has been confirmed by multiple sources. It is a story you will hear only right here.
In-depth analysis.
I did some digging on this and found the truth on
and plenty of fun.
That it's time now for the strangest stories of the past week.
The Dan O'Donnell Show, weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Wisconsin women are raising questions about Judge Susan Crawford. Crawford says,
I view myself as a really common sense judge.
But was it common sense, Judge, when you supported repeal of voter ID laws?
A really common sense judge.
But was it common sense, Judge Crawford, when you accepted endorsements from groups that support men in women's sports?
A really common sense judge.
But was it common sense, Judge Crawford, when you issued reduced sentences to child sex offenders, allowing one to live across from a school? Really? Common sense, Judge Crawford? You have been missing in action.
Case closed. Guilty as charged. Judge Brad Schimmel has the common sense, the integrity, and the experience to make an outstanding justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Elect Judge Brad Schimmel on April 1st. LNC Coalition paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. lcfreedom.com.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD IV Ketamine Therapy Centers. IV ketamine is superior to ketamine lozenges. If you suffer with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, listen to real R&R MD patient feedback.
My treatments helped greatly reduce and eliminate my chronic back pain.
I've tried many therapies for depression, and this has been the most impactful. The environment is relaxing, and the staff are incredibly kind.
Amazing, life-changing, wonderful. Dr. Jennifer changed my life for the better with ketamine infusions.
R&R MD helped me deal with anxiety and be more calm with hectic things going on. Years of talk therapy can't do what this did in a few sessions.
Intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour at our Brookfield or Mequon R&R MD locations. Relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful, time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com. Because time is running out.
Skip waiting for a table and enjoy a homemade fish fry every Friday at Sendik's. Enjoy 3 pieces of beer-battered Northern Atlantic cod, fried shrimp, walleye fillets, or baked cod. Each include your choice of original potato pancakes or French fries and all the fixings like fresh rye bread, creamy coleslaw, homemade applesauce, and Sendik's tartar sauce. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your neighborhood Sendik's. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Family Dentistry, Cosmetic Whitening, Ross Dental Straight Smiles, and Full Sedation Dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission? Your comfort, health, and confidence.
Smile like you just don't care.
Because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
We know you're loving the new preset feature on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite new thing.
But did you know that you can make almost anything a preset? Your favorite local station, sure, but your favorite podcast, that amazing playlist you made for free, even iHeart stations you can't get on the radio, like Alt 2K, Indie Radio, and Smells Like the 90s.
That's a game changer.
Whatever you choose, it's as easy as a tap to make a preset. Find out what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
Coming up next hour on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we will talk with Terry Dietrich about the single most valuable tool I think voters in Waukesha County have, and that would be available to voters statewide if other county parties and the state Republican Party would finally adopt the WIS-RED model. The number one question I get asked, and it's not even close this time of year, is, Dan, who should I vote for in this race? Toward that end, we will be doing Better Know a Candidate this Monday. Early voting in person starts on Tuesday. That would be March 18th. So even though it is St. Patrick's Day, everybody will be in a good mood, and we will do Better Know a Candidate on the following 2 Mondays. So we're going to do it this Monday, and then, well, I guess it wouldn't be the following Monday, which would be the 25th. We would do it on the 31st. Right? March has 31 days. Yeah, Monday the 31st. We'll do it again the day before the actual vote. How we do it is, I think people understand. We did this last year when I was filling in for Mark, correct, Paul? Yeah, we did. Basically, all it is candidates for local races in southeast Wisconsin, Dane County, wherever it is we broadcast, heck, anywhere across the state, if you'd really like. You call in, we give you a minute and a half, and we want to get as many candidates as possible. I can't just let you talk for 5 minutes. As much as I'd like to, give me your best 90-second elevator pitch for why constituents should vote for you. And I'll do it right now. How about this? Hi, Dan. My name's Dan O'Donnell. I'm running for the Greendale School Board, and I've got 3 kids in school, and I'm a dad who's concerned about education. I'm a conservative, but politically, that doesn't matter. What I care about is education, and what I've seen from the Greendale School Board is that we've gotten far away from the ABCs and are focusing way too much on the LGBTs. I'm running with Paul Cronforst as well as Dave Michaels. We are a group. We call ourselves the Radio Dads. So on April 1st, or when you get out and vote and early vote, make sure to remember to vote for the Radio Dads for Greendale School Board. Boom. That's it. That's all you need to do. Make sure people remember your name. It's easy. Don't get nervous. It's just a conversation with your old friend Dan. We'll give you the phone number. We will have people calling in pretty routinely. If you don't get in, text in with your phone number. When we have a second or two, I'll try to get Paul, our producer, to call you. We can't guarantee that every candidate gets on, unfortunately. We just can't. Okay? We try to get as many as we can. Usually I do an hour. Most of the time it goes 2 hours. What's that? Yeah, I know. Sometimes our phones don't call out. I mean, why would we need phones for a radio station? I mean, why would we need phones for any business that started after 1894? Yeah, sometimes we have issues with the phones, and so help me if we have one of those days where the phones just sort of don't work. Yeah, you might actually see, we'll turn on the Dano cam, you might actually see me like destroy this studio like I'm Led Zeppelin in a hotel room, okay? Yeah. I got to get to this very, very quickly. For the second time in a week, the Department of Education has placed UW-Madison on a warning list, saying today it's opened an investigation into 45 universities across the country over alleged racial discrimination. This comes exactly a month after the department issued sweeping guidance threatening to pull funding, that Dear Colleague letter that I've been referencing for quite some time. The investigation focuses on partnerships with the PhD Project. It's a nonprofit promoting diversity in the workforce by helping underrepresented students earn doctoral degrees in business. What it really is placing an emphasis on primarily black students getting into PhD programs as opposed to students of other races. That's illegal. That is not lawful for a state-funded university like the University of Wisconsin-Madison to do. You cannot place any racial preferences. The Supreme Court has reaffirmed this several times now. First in the University of Michigan cases in the early 1990s, then again in a lawsuit Asian students filed against Harvard University. The law could not be clearer. You cannot discriminate against anyone for academic placement, for any sort of benefit, for a job, for anything on the basis of race. It is a violation of the Civil Rights Act. It is a violation of the 14th Amendment's guarantee of equal protection under the law. Just because you're doing it to make yourself feel good and pretend to be righting old historical wrongs, that does not allow UW-Madison, the PhD Project, or any of these other schools to violate federal law. Last night, I was at a Lincoln Day dinner and I was asked, what's at stake in the Supreme Court election? My answer, everything. We get to that next.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of